Hey guys! Sorry, I had a little bit of technical difficulties getting on right away. It wasn't loading very well, but here we are, and I'm attempting to open this package. Oh, man, it's kind of tough. But I love it when you find canvases, small canvases, because I have a really fun idea for this. To get the third one open because I'm going to kind of work on 3 simultaneously. I've done this before where I've painted 3 small paintings together simultaneously. So we're going to do that again because I had this idea. I have my tea and a little biscuit. Tea and biscuits are the best. So hopefully you all can see this okay and hear me okay. We're going to get started. I want to do some koi fish. And so I have pinned a bunch of koi fish in a koi fish thing on Pinterest. And so I'm going to kind of look through that for inspiration. But before I, look at the layout. Thanks, Carissa. Good to know. I am going to do the backgrounds. So now I want the backgrounds to be a very vibrant turquoisey blue. And I feel like I'm going to have trouble getting what I want exactly with these acrylics, but let's see if we can get close. So I'm putting down literally turquoise, but I'm not going to rely on that because it already to me looks kind of muted. So I'm going to use my primary blue, which is my blue-green, put that down next to it, and then I'm going to have a ton of white. And a little bit of this medium stuff, which helps keep it soft. It's kind of like glue. Okay, then get my brush wet, and we're gonna mix these guys up. Got like a little thingy on there. Let's move that. Let's start with the turquoise itself and add in a little white. See what that looks like. Add in a little bit of this blue. Ooh, yeah, that blue definitely makes it more what I was envisioning. I think I'm going to use most of this white, so. Sometimes mixing your own colors like turquoise are better than relying on like a tube that's already labeled that. Because oftentimes they, it's not the purest form of that color. And so if you can make it yourself, it's kind of like processed food. That's the best example I can think of. It's better if you can make the stuff yourself and do the process yourself so that you know what goes into that, and you know the sequence of events, and you know that it was authentic and blah blah blah. So it's kind of like that, where you want to make sure you know what's in your food, you want to know what's in your paint mixture before you use it. So I'm literally going to just paint these. Oh, you know what? I should put something down so I don't ruin my beautiful white table. Okay, I just want these to be blue, so I'm gonna, nothing fancy, literally just blue. So I'm gonna, there's a little bit of an edge to them, but not too bad, so I won't drive myself too crazy having to remember to do that. Oops. This was the hard part. You can't hold it then once you've done the edges. I put a little bit of the excuse me, this medium in there, slow drying blending gel, because acrylic dries pretty fast, and that stuff just kind of helps it stay a little bit tackier for a little longer, which I can move it around more, similar to oil. Ooh, this paint is pretty stinky. Excuse me. It's getting to my nose. It must be this Grumbacher white paint that's smelling like that. Oftentimes it's the better paints that can have sort of a thicker smell to it. Okay, there's number 2. Did I get all the sides? I think so. Keep the texture kind of random. Honestly, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking maybe I want to have a little variety in the blue, just slightly. And so I'm going to just make sure I have a little bit of white out. I'm just going to, in a few spots, put in a few bigger stripes of something a little bit lighter, just to give it a little bit more interest. I don't want it to be too much, just hints of that. Okay, then oops. I'm going to try something interesting and different, where I'm going to put the shadow of the fish down first and then put the fish down on top of it. So little bit of white. And this is an example of me working background to foreground with the painting, whereas like the last few weeks when I did sunflowers, kind of working the opposite, working with the subject first and then doing background later because I liked that style. But this is a good example of the opposite. Okay, so I think I like that so far. Rinse off the brush. Okay, come on. So now I need to think a little bit about my composition, where fish are going to go and whatnot. So I've got 3 canvases, and obviously odd numbers are always more interesting. So I can either do 1 fish on each, if I did maybe that's what I'll do, is 1 fish on each. But now I need to figure out exactly the placement, because if they're a series and I envision them being hung like this, not like horizontal. So you want it to cycle through itself. So kind of a figure 8 type of a look can work out really well compositionally. So it's like, do I want to go have this fish kind of being up and over, this one kind of going down, this one going up this way? That's probably what I want to do. Yeah, that's probably what I want to do. So with that said, if he's going this one could swoop this way. Okay. So I want the same color because I'm doing the shadow first, but darker. So I'm actually going to add in, yeah, I'll add in a little bit of this. I want it to gray down just enough before I do. Let's just try this. I don't know what this is gonna look like, but I have a lot of this blue and red. Ooh. Actually, not horrible. It's maybe a little too warm. Let's see how that grayed it down. Adding the sort of a complement to it. It's an orangey red with blue. Orange and blue are complements. I kind of want it to be a little more blue though. Maybe I go into ultramarine maybe a little bit. Oh, Come on, stay together. And it's like, it's so hard to know what I'm going for here. I think the shadow it has to be the same blue. And so I think the ultramarine's not the right choice. It needs to be the same blue-green, but with a little bit of that red is fine. Okay, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I think that's what I want. So let's give this a try. It doesn't look dark enough on here, but I think it will be on the palette or on the canvas. So I want this one down here. Oh, and I might change brushes at this point because, gotta get some detail on this guy. And because my underlayer is a little bit wet, I can kind of blend my edges because this is a shadow and it needs to be fuzzier. Who knows, I might regret the fact that I'm doing the shadow first, but we'll try it. It's kind of determining where I'm going to put my fish, so that's why I need to kind of think about my fish placement as I'm doing this. It looks like a fish silhouette, kind of. Okay, so just to give you an idea, that's kind of the position of the fish going that way. Then I want one coming more like straighten it out a little bit so I can see how it's going to work. I have to keep the shadow on the same side of the fish in each of these so the lighting is the same. That's tricky. And I'm dipping into my lighter color occasionally to just blend it with the edge. Or sorry, with the background more. Blend the edge in the background. I don't know if I put that on the right side, but whatevs. Okay. Let's see what the last one will do. I think he's going this way. He's going this way. Maybe this one goes. No, it should go the other way. This is tricky, but I think we got a base down. I can always move it later if I don't like it, but there's another silhouette of a fish. Kinda. So we're gonna put these back in order. And now we can do fish. So I'm gonna rinse this off. Oh, I to think about which types of fish, like how they look, because there's so many different types of koi fish. It's like, do I want, the red and the white and the black spotted one, and which place should that go? I might take a picture of this layout right here, because as I paint them, I'm going to need to rotate them, and it'll be hard to remember which one did I intend for which spot and which direction is it supposed to go. But I think I want to do a white with orange in the middle. So maybe I start with that. I'm going to use this beautiful, actually I have a bunch of vermilion on the palette. Let's maybe use that first. And I do like my neons. I know some people might be like, what? But adding that to a little bit of normal paint, just for some reason, makes it. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it needs. Okay, and then I have blues I can touch into for shadowed sides, highlighted sides, whatever, because they're in water, so you have to kind of play with the blues that are also reflecting around them. So if I rotate this guy, I'm going to put a little bit of peach in my white just to calm it down a little bit, because the white isn't like perfectly white. Might even put a touch of blue. I just want it to be not pure white. And I'm going to try to draw the shape of this fish here. Now I'm going to go smaller than my shadow. You can already see how this is going to be way more meticulous than my other paintings so far. I do need a little bit of this medium to keep it liquidy. Okay, let's determine where the tail kind of ends. always add some water to it. You want it to be thick enough to cover the blues underneath. That can be the tricky part. It's a little bit more pure white. Kind of on the top of the head. Fins are hard. Let's see here. This is where I want it to blend pretty well with, I'll start it out with this peachy white color. But then it does need to transition into something a little more blue. Kind of a little bit of a bluish color here. Don't want it to be quite so vibrant. Tabbing that off just a little bit. Or just putting more blue when I put it down will also help. I don't really know like if I'm doing the placement of these accurately or not, but of the fins, that is. I can see myself going back in and adding some more shadow. The shadow that I did beforehand, that is. So I'm putting a little bit of blue on the fish because you get a lot of reflected blue from its surroundings. Huge part of it, huge part of it. There's actually a guy I follow on Instagram. I'll have to look up his name, but he does a lot of the ballpoint pen art, which is pretty awesome and detailed. But he has this series of smallish paintings that they're probably 2 or 3 times as big as this size. And he does these pigs that are like swimming in water. And the water is about this color in the background. But it's just fascinating to see how he can create so much movement and make it look like the fish are or the pigs are mostly submerged in the water except for their heads or something, you know. So it's that was my inspiration for this, was thinking, how do I accomplish that look of being underwater? And it's, because you have to taint the colors to match what the color of the water is, or the light reflecting through the water, all that stuff. Some of this will have to dry a little bit more before I can do like some more layers. But you get the idea. I think now it's time for the orange stripe or spots. Something like that. Okay, orange, here we come. I'm gonna do the shadowed stuff first. So it's gonna be this orange, probably with this blue. Sorry, I don't know if you can see my palette. This red vermilion with this blue right here. That right there, that muddy color, is like exactly what the shadow looks like underwater. From this reference, I'm kind of getting ideas from here. And there's a shadow over here where the stripe is, or the spot. Little one here. Either side of the tail and the back. A little guy right about here. But then once I have that shadow down, then I'm going to go pure vermilion. And I'm going to actually paint in. I kind of goofed up the edge of the fish there. He's got kind of a bulge that oh! Okay, don't look at the screen and make a stripe. It's okay, we're going to make it work. It actually has a spot on that side right here. That is so funny. I just did that on live YouTube, people. Live YouTube. It works, right? That is so funny. Oh, I need some more pure vermilion. It got tainted with my blue. That is hilarious. So in case you missed it, I just accidentally put a big stripe of red as I was looking at the camera to see how close I was getting. I just went, shoop, and there it was. So we're going to leave it. We're going to put in, I'm putting in this pure vermilion, trying to not mix it with my white. My white's kind of blending with it a little bit. And it's pretty bright, even though it is underwater, so I'm letting myself go pretty bright with that. Back here, it's maybe blending a little bit more with the the darker color. Okay. I do want to put a little bit of this vibrancy right on the tippy top of the head there, on that vermilion where this light can kind of peek through the water and hit the fish, and it creates this glow. Yeah, that's what I want. Now the head here could be a little bit brighter. Okay, now he's got a little eye. And then this whisker thing kind of has a shadow. This is when I might decide to spend a little more time defining the shadow. Right by the body anyway, because that's the one that probably is the most dramatic and dark. Okay. Actually, one little spot that might be helpful for showing the fin on the top of the body is to put a little bit cutting through that orange right there. And I think we can call it good. Maybe a little bit more blue on the side over here, just to kind of blend it in with the water slightly. So there you have koi fish number 1. I think I'm happy with it. That was the middle guy, right? And he's supposed to go this way. I think. This is why I took a picture. Because I'm not going to remember. Yes. That's the direction he goes. Okay. So now... Is it awful that like doing this project makes me want sushi? That's probably bad, isn't it? Thanks, Carissa. Yes, my mistake looks like it was meant to be there. Thank you. it could have been worse. If it went into the blue background, I would have had to fix it, cover it up, but it didn't. It ended up on the head, and that's perfect. So, I think I want like the bottom one maybe has a little bit more black. The top I want to have black, orange, and white. Let's do the black one down at the bottom. He still has a white base. But it can be tainted a little bit orange as well. His head's kind of yellow, so maybe that could be kind of a fun thing to do. Okay. This guy has got some lips. Yeah, I definitely want sushi. I've been craving sushi, but I'm also pregnant, so I can't eat sushi. I can have sushi-like rolls with cooked fish, but it's not quite the same. So as soon as I'm not pregnant anymore, that will be a yummy treat. A date night with the hubby, right? Go get some sushi. Okay, I'm gonna add in the darker shadowed sides of the fish. I guess it's reflected light, really. Where there's just a little bit of blue from the ocean, water, whatever. Not ocean, sorry. Looks more like a pool. Something like that. Whoa. Adding the fins now, which is like going to be darker. really blued down, cooled down white. I should have brought that back a little bit more. Keeping that shadow is tricky. I'm going to have to put some of that back in because I kind of have overtaken it more so than I wanted. I painted koi fish. I think it was koi fish. Yeah, way back in high school. I think for a high school, or maybe it was college. No, high school assignment for a class. And we were given a really long piece of, or at least I was doing it that way. Maybe it was just around that time. It might not have been a project, but a long piece of framing, like matte stuff. And I did a whole acrylic painting of these like 3-4 koi fish under the water with like the ripples on top. I think I still have it somewhere in my art stuff. It's like partially unfinished, but I like had a hard time ever getting rid of it because it looked like it was like so close to being done, but never quite there. This is reminding me of that, which is kind of cool. Okay, we're gonna dig into a little yellow for this guy's head. Ooh, that's really stuck on there. Whoa, and that's just coming out like nobody's business. Oh, and I'm getting paint everywhere. It's just like not my day. I tend to be a very clean painter for the most part, which I know seems weird, like being an artist, and this is what I do. I still tend to try to paint. I don't like getting paint on me or on things that it shouldn't be on, so I tend to try to be. When it happens, it's like, ah. There's the yellowish head. And then this guy's got a lot of black. Oh, I'm missing the whiskers, though. Little whiskery things coming off his face. It's weird. They're kind of like catfish. I guess catfish have really long, whatever they are, whiskers. Trying to put in more of a highlight on the top because once I put that black down, it's going to be a little trickier to do that around it. Black, you like my big bottle of black? I don't normally use black, but I'm gonna for this one, just because it simplifies it a little bit. All right. And actually there's some parts that it's black and white together. So kind of a gray. I might start with more of the gray and work up to the stuff that's really, really black. Just because I don't need to go like super black, super fast. And I can kind of mark it with the gray. Something like that. And then we'll go into pretty much just black, mostly black. This brush is kind of giving me some issues. This brush is a little weird. Did I just say that? Anyway, there's the fish so far. We actually have koi fish in our pond in the backyard right now at this new house. And at first I wasn't super thrilled about it because it's like we don't want to have to take care of fish and stuff. But apparently you don't feed them in the winter. They just sort of, their metabolism slows so much that they go into this sort of hibernation state. So we don't have to feed them right now. But in the summer we will have to. But as of like Wednesday this week, we had some plumbing work done and they accidentally cut into an electrical wire, which shut off the pond pump that was like cycling water through for the winterization or whatever. So they're not getting any water movement out there currently, which is sad. I was bummed by that because I was like, I was liking the koi fish, and obviously we're not going to let them die out there, but they'll be fine for a while. But we do need to figure that out and see if we can fix the problem. So now I'm like attached to these koi fish in our backyard. Uh, this is why I don't normally get pets, because I feel too bad for them and sorry for them, and it weighs on my heart. I can't have pets, but now have pets that I need to take care of. And I think about, it's kind of a funny reason not to have pets, but it is my reason for not having pets. They also are a lot of work and a lot of money, which isn't super fun all the time. But so we're gonna have to figure out the koi fish situation at our house. I'm hoping and praying we can find the cord that they accidentally cut and just like taped up and put in the ground pretty easily, and that we can just sort of reattach it and be good. But it's kind of like a whole system that we just don't know anything about out there, which doesn't help when it breaks and you're like, I don't even know how it was working beforehand. So that's kind of a little distressing. This guy's got a little orangey red spot on his head, which I think looks kind of cool. Man, there's something about painting fish. And it's just awful because I just talked about my fish in the backyard. I just want to eat fish now. Ugh. I love fish so much. Eating them anyway. That sounds awful, but it's the truth. Yeah, Carissa, we have fish in the backyard, in the pond. It's pretty cool. Like, I've kind of loved that. There's probably about, I don't even know. There's probably maybe six to eight. It's hard to tell. There's some really tiny ones, tiny baby ones out there. Only like one or two kind of big ones. Like these ones I'm drawing here are probably too big and elaborate, but they're kind of expensive fish. They're like $100 each, apparently. So, if we can't get the pond to work, we can at least sell them and get a little money for it. But I was liking the idea of like the pond with the fish back there. It's calming. The running water and all of that is so nice. It's kind of like my little Monet garden out there, and I'm excited to see what it looks like in the summer. But we're gonna have to fix it, and it takes some maintaining and stuff. We just don't know how. It's all like custom done, and so that doesn't help either. But we'll maybe figure it out. Maybe this weekend we'll go dig out there and see what we can find, and see if we can just plug it back in to at least keep the water cycling for now. Yeah, they're expensive fish. It's crazy. And like the ones we have out there, like some of them are only like this big. There's maybe one that's like this big. So they're expensive fish. So, if anything, we can sell them. But I kind of like them. But they're okay for now. We'll just have to figure out the oops, the pond and how it works and stuff like that. There's supposed to be a whole waterfall with it and everything too. Have no idea how that works, so there's that guy. Kind of a darker one. But he's there. He's happy. He needs some more highlights on him or something. There's something weird happening here. I think I like it though. I think. There's kind of some weird guys over in here. I do want more of that solid though. I'm gonna just like undo what I just did. That sometimes happens. You're putting something down and you're like, okay, that looks about right. And it's like, no, don't like it. Oh my, just went after my cookie with my brush. Just wiped my brush on my cookie. Oops, sorry, cookie. Okay. I'm trying to assess if I have the energy and the time to do the last one today. It is 12:43, and I have other stuff I'd like to do today, and I can come back and do this next week. So I might stop there, but I'm going to show you what I have up close. La. And the shadows should be all going the same direction. You know, the shadows are on top, so the lighting's kind of from below, which I think is kind of cool. But there we have those guys. I think the top one is going to be, maybe I'll go with a little more yellow and white and then some orange and maybe just hints of black so that I can kind of repeat some of the things I've done on the excuse me, on the one on the top there, so that, you know, it looks like a cohesive, unified image. But thank you guys for watching and commenting, and I hope you found it entertaining and fun to watch and inspiring, and that you can maybe work on your stuff today, whatever it is you're working on. And yeah, please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you're watching the first time. But we will resume next week. Every week I do a live stream like this, and I paint all sorts of different things and draw different things, and I get bored easily, so I don't stick with one thing very long. So you get a lot of variety. But so I hope you guys have a good Friday and a good weekend. Stay safe and healthy out there. Bye.